It's touted as one of the cleanest sources of renewable energy. During the past several decades, a growing number of people across the country began installing solar panels.
But here in New Orleans, it's a trend that only began taking hold after Hurricane Katrina. And as Maya Rodriguez reports, potential customers here need to know what they're getting into before jumping into the solar fray.
It's become an end-of-day ritual for Barbara Soletz.
I have charts of what I'm producing every day.
As the sun begins to set on her Lakeview home, she makes her way to the garage to check on a set of numbers.
The total is 5,751. And today, so far, it's produced 18.11 kilowatts.
A little more than a year ago, Soletz got 16 solar panels installed on the roof of her home. The last pieces of a puzzle, years in the making.
I lost my house in Katrina, and I had to totally rebuild. And when I did that, I wanted to go green.
Another incentive to go solar? Lucrative state and federal tax credits. In the end, though, the decision came down to one thing.
The main thing, saving electricity.
Post-Katrina rebuilding sparked a mini boom in the local solar industry. Solar panels started appearing on rooftops across the metro area and even in some schoolyards.
If you had an older meter, the meter would be spinning backwards right now.
Scott Oman is with South Coast Solar, one of the first companies to set up shop here.
We've done probably about 300 systems now,
including the one belonging to Barbara Soletz. Once her system was up and running, Entergy came in to install what's called a net meter.
Net metering is a law that provides for you to be able to connect the solar system to the utility. And when you generate more power than you consume, you can actually send that power back onto the utility grid.
But that's where the confusion began for Barbara Soletz.
At first, I was so new to it that I didn't know what to think. I went through several months of tracking it to try to get some understanding of it.
What she noticed was that no matter if the weather was hot or cold, she didn't seem to be banking a lot of energy credits.
I got the impression that in the cold months, I would be able to bank electricity, and I'm not banking any electricity.
She says her calls to Entergy yielded few answers. Part of the problem, some of the energy generated by the solar panels is used immediately by Soletz in her home. It never runs through the meter, so it never gets tabulated. And she can't verify the amount of energy she doesn't use.
So there's no way for me to know if the energy bill is correct.
It's tough to figure out how much you're generating versus how much you're using.
Melanie Hall is Entergy's Director of Customer Service. She says it's a common misconception among customers with solar panels that Entergy's net meter should somehow know the total amount of power the panels are producing.
It's a matter of the meter doing its job.
Hall says calculating the total power produced is not Entergy's responsibility, and it's up to the solar installation company to make sure their customers know that.
So we rely heavily on the solar installers to be those experts.
Entergy also says a zero energy bill happens only occasionally with solar panels. Solar installers disagree about that, but Entergy says in the last year, only a handful of their 170 solar customers in New Orleans actually had a zero bill.
A zero energy bill is very rare. A customer would need to use very, very little of their own power in order to have a zero energy bill.
But some watchdog groups think Entergy could do more to make things easier on their solar customers.
This is new for Entergy, and there's a learning curve for them in how to respond to those inquiries. And Entergy should provide information to customers so that they can read their own meter and determine that they in fact, are being properly billed and that they're being properly credited for the solar that they're generating.
But some area solar installers say they see their responsibility in the process as well.
It's something that as installers, we tend to spend most of our time doing is education.
Jeff Canton is the head of the company Solar Alternatives, located in Faubourg Saint-Jean. He says it's not only potential solar customers that need an education in it.
You can see it with the struggles the different companies have to both educate and communicate to regulatory bodies like the state and the PSC and the city council.
Because of that, the local solar industry is now taking it upon itself to become more interconnected. This month, the industry will hold the very first meeting of the Gulf States Renewable Energy Industries Association. It's a group that could end up helping Barbara Soletz and others with solar questions.
I think it would be really nice if Entergy had a liaison person who work strictly with solar panels and people that have solar panels.
New technology emerging from an ever-changing energy landscape. Maya Rodriguez, Eyewitness News, Night Watch.
Once we began asking questions on her behalf, Solette's solar installer said they would install a new internet monitoring system that will allow her to see exactly how much energy the panels are generating and how much she's using and how much she's banking.